At only 18 kilometers from Foggia, we find Lucera, which is the capital of the Capitanata land. Its origins date back to Neolithic period and was inhabited by the Greeks, then by the Doni, up to the Roman Empire. Due to its strategical geographical position, Lucera today is called Key of Puglia, and since 2007 it has been named European City of Excellence. But Lucera is best known for being a city of art. Entering the old city center through Porta Foggia and walking along Corso Garibaldi, you cannot help noticing Palazzo Lombardo, which was built in 1600. Palazzo Lombardo is a noble building which maintains the Renaissance portal and Baroque family emblem. Among the examples of ancient aristocratic court, there is also Palazzo Mozzagrugno, home of the Civic Garibaldi Theatre, built in 1837, the Bonghi Library, and also the City Hall. In the indents of the stone of Town Hall, you find the soul of Lucera. The old town is a maze of paths that fit into each other. And just when you start to believe that you are lost, you suddenly discover yourself so tiny compared to the majesty of the cathedral in front of you, a magnificent example of Gothic Anjou, founded in the early 1300s to celebrate the victory of the Saracens of Anjou, and also dedicated to Saint Mary, patron saint of the city. Inside the plant has the shape of a Latin cross. The three naves are separated by 2 rows of columns. Everything exudes sacredness: the altar, the statues, the paintings, the frescoes, and also the grand organ. The cathedral overlooks Piazza Duomo, the main square situated in the heart of the historic city center, and also known as the Soane Salon, a meeting point for the Lucerino community. Piazza Duomo, with the imposing buildings that surround it, once again underlines the important artistic and architectural heritage that Lucera cherishes. Among the buildings of particular interest, we find Palazzo Cavalli, with a classical look, whose facade dates back to the 19th century, and the majestic portico supported by 4 fluted columns. Then there is the Bishop's Palace. The entrance is made up of 2 important side staircases and a central balcony. In this palace also resides the Museum of Sacred Art of the Diocese of Lucera, which together with the Civic Museum of the city cherishes the memory of the past. From Piazza Duomo, we once again lose ourselves within the narrow winding lanes until we reach the so-called Well of St. Rosa Lamparelli, from which even today are extracted miraculous waters. On the corner of the center of Piazza Nocelli does not go unnoticed Palazzo Troy, 2-story building dating back to the 1700s, and now houses the local tourist information center. We turn to the corner, and here we are flooded by the colors, smells, voices, chatter from the Piazza della Repubblica, where its morning market has fruit, vegetables, fish, and a surprising and delightful scene of everyday life. We may think that Lucera has shown us the best of itself, but no, when you think you have savored it deep down, this town takes your soul. silence, on tiptoe, we enter the sanctuary of St. Francis.
Questa è la chiesa di San Francesco d'Assisi che
This is the church of St. Francis of Assisi, and since 10 years ago is also the shrine church of St. Francis Anthony Fasani. It was named St. Francis of Assisi because the church dates back to 1300. The construction was ordered by Carlo d'Anjou of Naples, who wanted the Franciscan priest in Lucera. Meanwhile, Father Fasani was here from 1707 to 1742 when he died. He was born here in Lucera in 1681 and therefore is a Lucerino and has lived in this church and also in the side convent for 35 years. He died here and his mortal remains are beneath the main altar since 1951. They were transferred from the tomb to the altar, made purposely for the accommodating the rest. Then, in 1886, we were about to start the 25th anniversary of this date. Pope John Paul II declared him saint. The last taste of spirituality in this church, Church of St. Dominic, probably dated back to the year 1300. Crossing the Via Federico II, one of the main shopping streets of Lucera, we reach the city's park, which lies on the lookout of the hill. There are about 4 acres of land full of palms, laces, elms, and also a recreational and community meeting place for the citizens of Lucera and their inevitable evening walking so-called struscio. From one end, the view of the public garden overlooking the plain below and the enormous scenery of the so-called Tavoliere delle Puglie. Finally, last but not least, the highest hill where once stood the Roman Acropolis, Lucera reserves us its last extraordinary wonder, the Svevo Angevin fortress, an example of fusion between art and fortification. The fort is a treasure of archaeological interest. Within it once stood the Frederick's Palace, a real threatening and inaccessible castle from the outside, but luxurious home inside, where the Swabian emperor, surrounded by the peace of the woods, found the serenity necessary to compose and write his poems.